it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you for joining me again today. And today I am taking part in Kylie Bertucci's blog highlights. This is something she does once a month, and basically we show our project on her website and people can vote for their favourite. This is going to be an interesting one to see whether people do like it or not. But I hope you do, and I hope you will go and vote for me. The link to vote for me is in the description bar below. If you go to the associated blog post, you'll find a button there to vote for me. You get, I think it's 5 votes, so you can vote for up to 5 projects. So have a look at everything else, and yes. The projects are always around gratitude and thanks. So I've got one sample to show you that I've made for a birthday, and I'm going to make a gratitude thanks version. I'm taking my inspiration from the Playing with Patterns designer series paper, where we've got these lovely stripes of colour. I'm going a bit monotone. If you know me, you know I like monotone. So I've gone for a browny sort of bricky sort of colour palette. Just pop that paper down. So my colours for the one I've made are Early Espresso, which is the card base and the stamping, Soft Suede, Cajun Craze, Terracotta Tile, which I have to accept came out a little pinker than I thought it would, Cinnamon Cider, one of our new colours, Pumpkin Pie, and Bumblebee, again one of our new colours. And I've used the Elegant Faceted Gems for the 3 little bits round the greeting, because these ones are clear, so they pick up the colour from behind. They are completely clear. So this one's got a pink tinge because of the Terracotta Tile, this one looks more yellow because of Bumblebee, and this one looks clear because it's on Whisper White. So let me show you the one that I'm going to make now. And I'm just counting. Ooh, slightly concerned I'm 1 colour short, but never mind, it'll be fine. So I've got Soft Seafoam, you can't see it, but it is Soft Seafoam, Pool Party, Mint Macaron, Coastal Cabana, Bermuda Bay, and Pretty Peacock. So those are 6 colours, and this is 6 plus 1. I think I might be doing it with 5, because I can't actually think of another of the... I want teal, and I can't think of another teal that would sit happily in there. So let me show you how I did this. And it's actually really easy. It's a little bit messy, but it's really easy. So let me pop that out of the way. Let me pop that out of the way. Let me grab the bits that I'm going to use. So I've got a piece of Whisper White, which I will be cutting down. So it's a piece of Whisper White. I have a piece of Coastal Cabana, which will take the place of the Cinnamon Cider. A half sheet of Pretty Peacock, which will take the place of the Early Espresso. And 1 mystery piece, which I will bring in now with the key to all of this. So I say the key, it's one of the keys. This is one of the bits of backing paper that you get with your designer series paper. So it's one of the 12 by 12 sheets. I've used from the layering rectangles the rectangle stitched framelit dies even. So this set, I've used this one, which nestles in there. So it's very long and thin, and I've just die cut it once and then moved it, so I get this strip. The only thing you need to think about is that you want your strip to be almost as long as, but not quite as long as, your piece of card. You're not going to use the whole length as such, and I will show you that as we go along. So I've cut this so that it is square within itself, so all of this is rectangles. Both sides are slightly shiny. I think this one is the shiniest, which is the side with the printing. I've got a couple of pieces of not very sticky washi tape. You can use masking tape, you can use purple tape if you've got that. but I want something that's not too sticky so that I can stick it to my card, my mat, and know that it's not going to rip the card. And then I want another piece of washi tape for this, which again, I want to take some of the stick off so that it's not quite as difficult to move around. But this is going to be my placement. And this is why I wanted it square to itself, because I want to be able to lie it down and have it on the grid paper so that it is square, because all I'm going to be doing is moving it down a bit each time. So let's stick that down, and I'm going to start with my lightest colour, and I would urge you to start with your lightest colour. This is where I have to see if I have a soft sea foam. I do. Sponge dauber. So I also need a block and a piece of kitchen paper, which I forgot to bring across. One piece of kitchen paper and glycerin, which, because the temperature is now a little cooler, is now less liquid. So the first thing you want to do is open up your ink pad and just pop your block onto it so that you pick up some ink onto your block. That hopefully will be enough, but I'll keep it to one side just in case. Now, what I've been tending to do is get my dauber and just get some glycerin onto my dauber, and then pick up my colour. So you're mixing the colour with glycerin, and that means you get a nice smooth finish. Now, this isn't going to look much until we finish, because this is a very pale colour. So what you're doing is you're literally just rubbing backwards and forwards. Concentrate more on the middle and less on the ends. You do not want to go to the end, because you don't want a harsh end. I do want to do a bit of a flick, however, just so that I get a slightly softer end. And you can now see that the colour's building up. So that's that colour. I don't know where I've put the lid back on my glycerin. So soft sea foam we have done. The reason I need this is just to clean my block between colours, because what I don't particularly want is to get glycerin into my ink pad. So my next one is Pool Party. So again, pop the block in, find my Pool Party, which I think I've got a Pool Party. I do. I mean, I do label my daubers. I'm going to pick this up so you can now see that soft line, and you can see that there, well, hopefully you can see there are no hard ends. So I'm going to pick that up and I'm going to move it down 1/2 inch, so 2 squares, and to line it up again. And if you find that you're erring onto one side, this is where you can adjust where you are. That will be more important later on in the process. So make sure we're square in all directions, and again, I'm going to just get some glycerin onto my sponge dauber and pick up my ink. I do like to just make sure that things are, you know, working reasonably well before I go on to my final piece of paper. Using the glycerin gives you a smoother finish, so you don't get the hard blobs that you could do if you didn't use the glycerin. And again, you can see I'm flicking out because I want that as if it's a dry brush. And of course we have the dry brush stamp now. Let me just do a little bit more there. Okay, and then again, no hard ends. This is what we want, no hard ends. And clean my block again. So you can see basically how we're going. So that's Pool Party done. Now we're going to go Mint Macaron. So into the block, or onto the block. mint macaron is going to be that one, I think. Yep. So mint macaron dauber. Tiniest amount of glycerin. It's all you need. And once you get ink into your dauber and you've got a good amount, you actually have to use much less ink to get things to work properly. So again, I'm coming down 2 squares to there. Test, yep, and in we go. You do want to concentrate on the sides rather than the ends. You kind of need to leave the ends to take care of themselves until you get to the point where you're pretty close to finishing, and then you can just do a few little flicks just to get that faded finish. And if you decide that, so I've got a bit of a line there, you can just come back in and blend it out, she says, hopefully, rather than adding it in again. And down 2 squares. And I'm being reasonably central with this one. I got a bit one-ended with the other one. So that's mint macaron tick. So just in case you don't know me, say my name's Liz Yuille, and I have a business called Old Stables Crafts. I'm based in the UK, and I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And I have a nice little team. Not that little actually now. I think we've got over 20 of us. And we are in the UK and parts of Europe, including Germany. So Coastal Cabana. And bear with me while I take that phone call. Sorry about that. Right, so where were we? Coastal Cabana. I've got the glycerin on. I've picked up my ink. Let's pick up the rest of it. Let's do a quick test. Yes, that looks good to go. And this is an older dauber. I've been using this a lot for Coastal Cabana, so it's running really easily. So the only thing I need to just make sure of is that the ends here have a nice fade. And just bring that in a bit more in the middle. And there we have our Coastal Cabana. Clean my block. Kind of lost my train of thought. It was a customer query, which is great. I love when customers call me with their problems, because that's what I'm here for. And this particular lady had been sent something that she hadn't ordered and hadn't got something that she had ordered. But good old demo support got it sorted out in no time at all. Bermuda Bay. Oh, I need to move this down. Let's get that closed. Pop it to one side. So because my piece of card is longer than my my matte layer, this is actually much easier than it would otherwise be, because we want to make sure that we've got the right gap. So I probably already have glycerin on this, but we'll add a bit more just in case. Pick up my ink. And again, yep, that's going nicely. So come in with our Bermuda Bay. And this is such an easy technique. All you need is a slit. You could do this with just pieces of washi tape or masking tape, anything like that. I just think it's easier if you've got a slice to go into, because you're not going to have any risk of ripping your card as you move washi tape, because there is no washi tape other than on the very edges. There is no washi tape on your card. Okay, so I am going to bring in Pretty Peacock as my last colour, but because I'm going to be stamping my sentiment over here, I should get away with it. So this definitely shows better. The fact that this is longer means that I can see where my lines are. So I'll move my piece of washi tape because I don't really want it on my nice piece of soft seafoam. So I need Pretty Peacock, which I don't have a Pretty Peacock yet, I don't think. Let me see. No, I don't. Right, okay, so let's break out a brand new dauber. Always exciting. Bring out my Pretty Peacock. And pick up some ink. This is a solid colour, so we're probably not going to need too much. A bit of glycerin, swirl that in the ink. I'll just move that to one side. I'm going to need it open in a moment, so yep, that's going all right. And in we come again. And then just flick in from the ends. Make sure the edges are nice. Oops. There we go. Okay, now before we do anything else, this isn't too bad actually, but what we do want to make sure is that our glycerin pot is clean, because if this had got, say, early espresso in it, in the lid or around the top, you wouldn't want that on your So Saffron or your soft seafoam. So we can then wipe our block again. I will clean this properly, but it just gets the ink off in the short term. And lift up, and there are our stripes. This I'm going to put in the bin purely because I don't want any cross colouring, so I'm not keeping it. I wouldn't even keep it if I was going to do another one of these, because I wouldn't want Pretty Peacock with my soft seafoam. It is, after all, only rubbish, you know, the backs of paper pads. So I'm going to trim this down because I don't like this gap here. So let me bring in my trimmer. This was, I think, 5.5 by 3 3/4. Yes. So what I'm going to do is bring it so that I'm a full amount, so like 1/2 inch. So I'm bringing it down to 3 1/4. Now this is going to depend, the dimensions will depend on your design. And I'm going to take 1/4 inch off there and 1/4 inch off here, and then that will be the right proportions for my card. So we've ended up with our card at 3 1/4 by 5. So we've still got the same proportions, just smaller. Pretty Peacock ink pad, and this time I used the sentiment before was from Beautiful Friendship, which is birthdays are the best days. I'm going to use I Can't Thank You Enough this time because I want a thank you sentiment for Kylie's blog. That's the word I'm looking for. Pop that on there, ink it up in Pretty Peacock, and stamp it straight down, hold it, give it a chance for the ink to cross, and there we go. And this doesn't look like the same colour because this was gently layered as opposed to this being a solid image. So I think we've got away with it. Okay, let's get rid of that before I put my fist in it. I've got my Coastal Cabana, I've got my Pretty Peacock. I will obviously be putting a liner on the inside of this card because writing on Pretty Peacock is going to be a challenge for anyone. You could use the chalk marker, but I'm going, oh no, 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 no. Naughty, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to be putting it on dimensionals. So, stamp and seal. The trick is to come up when you want to break the tape. You don't need to put it on every edge, you just need to put it in kind of strategic places. I think the corners are a really good place to put them. Might put a bit in the middle just for luck. This is a much, much improved adhesive over the snail, which is its sort of direct replacement. So that's that down, press from the back, because that's what I do. And dimensionals. So this is actually a really simple one layer card that I'm just kind of pumping up a bit with dimensionals and extra mats. But you could just do it straight onto your card blank if you wanted. Obviously you'd need to just go with the dimensions that you've got. About to bring in my waste bin, but my waste bin is not a pretty sight, so because it's got waste in it. So here we go. Ooh, ooh, flying. So it's almost straight. Now, if you do that and you've got things that are not right, pull them up as quickly as possible, and then for the last one, twist it off. It's more likely to break the adhesive seal rather than rip the card. That's better. And again, I'm going to press from the back, get rid of my dimensional backings, and bring in my elegant faceted gems. And again, I'm going to... I like having these in a triangle round my sentiment. It's very good on the eye. So that is going to read clear. This, I'm tempted to put it over the 2 and really confuse people. That's going to read both those colours. And this is going to read Pool Party. Ooh, I don't like that there. Twist it off. Let's pop it there. So it's now going to read Soft Seafoam. So can you see what I mean by it picks up the colour of what's behind? I hope you can. I will try and capture that on my photos. So this is the one I made earlier. This is the one we've just made. Really simple cards, but just a fun ink technique. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for watching. If you've enjoyed that, in spite of the interruption, please go over to my website and go over to Kylie's from there and vote for this. That would be amazing. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and do remember to subscribe if you would like to. I would be thrilled if you would. If you're in the UK and you need any products, I would be extremely happy if you tried out my customer service and ordered through me. And if you would like a lot of Stampin' Up products, I would highly recommend the starter kit, because for just £99 or €129, you get £130 of product or €175 of product that you choose, plus a minimum of a 20% discount between now and the end of January. And on that note, I shall say goodbye. Thank you very much indeed, and have a great rest of your day.